Hi, everyone. It's me with my week 3 update in my training for Mount Charleston. And by the way, when I look to the side, it's because I take notes before I record these videos. So it helps me to stay on track, which is interesting because I feel like I go off track a lot. But anyway, so I will start this week by saying a few things that I noted this week in my training. Number one is that on Wednesday, I started to feel a cold coming on. So that has impacted, I think, my heart rate and my sleep, which I'm still complaining about. My sleep. Garmin is still not showing me pleasurable data about my sleep. I'm trying to figure out the algorithm or whatever so that it's happy with my sleep, and I just don't know what else to do. So I will say I think that has impacted my sleep because my nose is plugged up, and then I have to breathe through my mouth at night, and I'm sleeping light. I don't know, it's just a disaster. Speaking of sleep, I started reading Matthew Walker. I kept calling him Michael Walker last week. Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. And one really interesting thing that he noted was that you're either a morning person, like you either have your best results in the morning, right? We know this, or you're an evening person. And that's you're genetically predispositioned or predisposed to being one of two types. So if you are more of a night owl, but you have a job that requires you to get up early in the morning, then it causes health issues. And so there's just a brief discussion about how employers should be more flexible with their work hours based on how their employees' bodies are genetically predispositioned. Yeah, good luck with that, employers. Like, hey, employer, I'm a night owl, so can we flex my work schedule? No, it's not happening. Hey, kids, I really like to exercise in the morning. Can you maybe come to school at 10 a.m. and maybe we stay till about 4 or 5? That would be my preference. That's not ever going to happen. So like on the weekends, I get better sleep because I'm going to bed and waking up based on my body's natural rhythm. And I will say that I am more of a morning person, but my body naturally, I think, wakes up around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then if I can go exercise at that time, I would ideally love to start work at 10 a.m. That is my only complaint about my job, is that, gosh, I wish I started at 10 a.m. Even 9 would make a big difference for me, but I don't. I start at 8:30. So what do you do about that? Maybe one day it will change. I don't know. I don't think so. So anyway, here's my rundown. Here's my rundown. On Sunday, I ran 5 miles and my average pace was 9:45. My heart rate was 143. Remember, I like to keep it in like the 138 range. And then I went to a cycling class with friends, and I talked about that last week. I did sleep that night for 8 hours and 58 minutes. So I'm in bed for a long time. My REM was 2 hours and 4 minutes. Woohoo, gold star for me. Why? Because it was just my natural rhythm. I followed my natural rhythm. I need to learn how to change my natural rhythm, but I'm not going to go to bed at 8 o'clock on the weekends. Sorry, that's just not going to happen. Monday, I ran 6 miles at a 9:34 pace with my friend Stephanie, and my heart rate was 135, which is interesting. Like I feel like the faster I go, sometimes the lower my heart rate is. And my heart rate was 135, which is interesting. Like I feel like the faster I go, sometimes the lower my heart rate is. And the slower I go, it's kind of hard for me to go like 10-mile pace. I know that sounds pretentious, right? It's so hard for me to go like a 10-mile pace. I'm not a fast runner by any means, but my natural is about an 8:30. So when I do try to slow it down, I feel like maybe it throws my gait off a bit, makes my heart rate go higher. So 9:34, 135, I slept for 7 hours and 16 minutes that night. And my REM was only 26 minutes because when I get up at 5 a.m., it messes with that last REM cycle. And I really do feel like the Garmin is accurate with my sleep. I know a lot of people complain about it, but yeah, so it interrupts that last REM cycle. I need to make it earlier, that REM cycle. Tuesday was a rest day. I didn't record my sleep for Tuesday. Wednesday, 6 miles at 9:41 pace. Heart rate was 140. I slept for 6 hours and 54 minutes with only 17 sad minutes of REM. I did come home and I did my final treadmill run with Tommy for the Costa Rica 5K series. It was my last one. I just wanted to check that box. That was 2 miles. So it was really easy. And then I did strength, just my abs afterwards for 10 minutes with Heather Robertson. On Friday, 5.5 miles. Oh, Thursday was off, rest day. Friday, I was supposed to run 4 miles, but I ran 5.5 because I'm just trying to add some mileage here and there. My heart rate or my pace was a 9:44. My heart rate was a 138. I slept for 8 hours and 39 minutes, and my REM was 1 hour and 24 minutes. I went to bed Thursday night at 8:30 because I wasn't feeling good. I got up to run, and my husband was like, "You're running?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got to get out there and do it," even though I wasn't feeling well. But I do feel like when I run and I have a cold, it just gets like my sinuses cleared up, and I do feel better afterwards, oddly enough. And so I went to work that day on cold medication. So Saturday was the exciting part of my day because I had a 10-mile run. And my pace for this run is my long run pace. My long run pace is supposed to be between an 8:47 and a 9:11. So it was 10 miles at my long run pace. All week long, I wore my Brooks Glycerin 19, I think. And I don't know if it's 18 or 19. It's 19, the latest model. I wore those for my Saturday run, the 10 miles. I ran in the Saucony Endorphin Pros for the first time that I got for like $100. And I have to say, I really like the Saucony Endorphin line in general. And I really like this shoe as well. It's a carbon plate. And it just felt good the whole time. It's kind of cushiony, but it's firm, and I don't know. And I went to Palos Verdes. I'll show you some video footage here. And if I can't figure out how to insert it, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try. And you can go to See Lefty Run on my Instagram. I have footage there. So, but I'll try to insert it in this video too. But it's new for me. So if you see it, great. If not, sorry, you can go to my Instagram. Anyway, so it's 10 miles. My average pace was an 8:41. So I was a bit fast on this run. I took it to Palos Verdes, which is my favorite semi-local run. I do have to drive to Palos Verdes. I start at the Redondo Beach Pier and I just head straight up. I did 5 miles one way and 5 miles back. And there's some pretty significant inclines. I think it was 500 feet of elevation. And it comes on pretty quick. And then there's one kind of longish hill that goes for about a half mile. And then there's another one for about that's longer than a quarter mile. Maybe the longer one is about a mile. And then the shorter one, which is steeper, is about a half mile. But I felt really strong because I've done this run a lot of times, many times. And I normally, like when I get to the top of these hills, feel like I need to stop. And I didn't yesterday. I felt really great. I didn't take any fuel. I don't really start feeling unless I'm going to do like a 13-mile run. Maybe 12. 12 is when I'll start to fuel, but 10-mile I don't fuel. And there were water fountains along the way. So I just stop at those. I hate carrying water with me. It just drags me down. So that was a really beautiful run. The weather was impeccable. It was 50 degrees. I wore capri pants. I should have probably worn shorts. It got a little warm. I did have a short sleeve shirt on though. And then that night I had 8 hours and 56 minutes of sleep, and my REM was only 26 minutes. So I don't know what's going on with this short REM. I am sleeping light. I think it's because of the cold. So yeah, so I like the Endorphin Pros. I did buy today the New Balance 1080 V11. I'm waiting for those to come. I want to see if that can be my easy run shoe. Because the Nova Blast 2 was okay, The glycerin's okay. I'm just kind of looking for that perfect everyday trainer. And then of course, I'm just in love with Saucony for the speed and for the marathon. So I'm glad I got my marathon and speed shoe worked out. I loved that Asics Meta Speed Sky too. So between those three, I'm covered. It's just the everyday easy run shoe that I'm trying to figure out. Listened to a podcast a couple weeks ago, Running Rogue, Rogue Running, Running Rogue. So Rogue Running. Anyway, let me see real quick. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when you don't get REM. I can't remember anything. Running Rogue. And there was this woman on who was talking about this was like I think it was like in 2018 or something. I just find topics that are of interest. And she was trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon, and she ran Mount Charleston and at mile 26 completely collapsed and never finished the race. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that doesn't happen to me. Oh my gosh. It made me kind of scared. I was like, what happened that you collapsed at mile 26? She said she didn't fuel well. And I can see how that can happen on those types of runs, because when I did Big Bear, I listened to a gentleman the day before, like a coach, who gave us strategies on how to approach the race. And he said, make sure you fuel at every aid station. And that's not typically in my routine. I typically don't. I usually do every other. But because he said that, he was like, the elevation is going to get to you before you realize it. It's too late. So I took his advice and I did fuel at every aid station. So, and I don't think she did based on her story. But anyway, it just made me a little nervous. We'll see how everything goes. Happy holidays to you. My family and I are going to Big Bear this week for a couple of days. We were supposed to go to Utah, but I'm like, there's going to be not enough snow, southern Utah, not northern, near Vegas. And I didn't want to do that drive again after my Thanksgiving experience. So anyhow, have a great week. And I think I'm going to try to stay on track with my running. Monday, I have 6 half-mile repeats at marathon pace. So it's starting to get exciting. And I'll try to do one run in Big Bear. I'll do it. So we'll see how that goes. But happy holidays. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one. Bye.